So, I have a new video series in the works that I'll be running concurrently with my already ongoing series on the women's movement. Which is really not the best idea. I'm already struggling my butt off to make one series. I had been planning on doing this series at some point in the future, but the reason I'm going ahead and rolling it out now is because I believe it's needed, and I believe if I don't do this right now, God is going to hold me accountable for that. The series in question is going to be on the mystery schools and mystery religion, and to be honest with you guys, I'm not prepared to do this series at all. I've studied the mystery schools extensively over the past 10 years, but I've never written or spoken about them in depth, so this will be totally new terrain to me. The main reason I'm doing this now is because I'm seeing a lot of contention in the public square at the moment. The dust is beginning to settle from all of the chaos and turmoil of the past 10 years, and people are looking back upon this period and are seeing the reality of what transpired more clearly than they've ever seen it before. Naturally, as a result, most people are trying to identify the parties responsible for bringing the chaos upon us. And other people, many of whom are at least partly responsible for the madness of the past decade, are suddenly looking for a scapegoat and someone to point the finger at to absolve themselves of their own share of the responsibility. Unfortunately, in the midst of all of this, I'm seeing a lot of people who are misidentifying the parties who are responsible. Specifically, I'm seeing a growing number of individuals who are up in arms over a particular group of people. Now, I'm going to be point blank honest with you guys. When it comes to the agenda that we are up against and all the things that are tied into it, there are a lot of Jewish people involved in promoting and implementing it. Moreover, some of the Jewish people who are involved seem to have a peculiar ethno-supremacist fixation upon disrupting the cultural and ethnic homogeny of European nations and any nations where Caucasians are a demographic majority. And this is not a conspiracy theory, this is something that can be proven in their own words. Women like Barbara Specter or men like Mark Potok from the Southern Poverty Law Center have plainly stated as much, sometimes even on video. As a matter of fact,
I think there's a resurgence of anti-Semitism because at this point in time, Europe has not yet learned how to be multicultural. And I think we're going to be part of the throes of that transformation, which must take place. Europe is not going to be the monolithic societies that they once were in the last century. Jews are going to be at the center of that. It's a huge transformation for Europe to make. They are now going into a multicultural mode, and Jews will be resented because of our leading role. But without that leading role and without that transformation, Europe will not survive.
But I'm here to tell you all right now, the agendas that are underway are not Jewish agendas, despite what this bitch says, and Jewish people at large are not the bad guys. The Jewish people who are involved, as powerful and influential as they are merely cogs in the machine whose interests just so happen to align with the interests of the real enemy, who I'll get to in a second. It is also not exclusively Jewish people by any means who are working to promote or implement these agendas, even though the Jewish people who are involved do tend to have a disproportionate amount of influence. These agendas are ultimately a product of the mystery schools, which comprise a vast body of people, not just Jews, and the agendas in question have been in the making for centuries, at least as far as I've been able to tell in my own research. The mystery schools themselves date all the way back to ancient times. They have included the cult of Osiris and Isis in ancient Egypt, the Order of the Quest, the cult of Mithras, the Roshaniya, who are actually the first men in history to weaponize and mobilize women to infiltrate the spaces of men and undermine them, the Order of the Assassins, from which the Assassin's Creed games are loosely based, the Order of the Rose and Cross, also known as the Rosicrucians, of which Martin Luther himself was an initiate, the Sovereign and Military Order of the Knights of Malta, the Order of St. John of Jerusalem, the Prairie de Sion, the Thule Society or Thule Society, the Skull and Bones, the Russell Trust, the Kabbalah, yes, them too, the Knights Templar, and in today's world, the Order of Free and Accepted Masons, among countless others. This also includes other smaller sects of mystery religion, including your pagans, your Wiccans, your New Agers, and countless others. Initiates of this secret religion have included nearly all of your great innovators, pioneers, philosophers, mathematicians, inventors, etc. over the centuries. Everybody from Socrates to Carl Jung has been an initiate, and unbeknownst to most people, many of the things that these men have developed or pioneered have been products of esoteric thought and secret teachings. As a matter of fact, Plato himself traveled all the way to Egypt to be initiated into the Egyptian mysteries, where he laid in a sarcophagus for 3 days and 3 nights without food or water. Collectively, all of these men and women over the centuries have been working together to bring about a new age and a great work, also known by most people as human progress. The global agenda that is unfolding in our world today is ultimately a culmination of that aim. It's their end game, and I'm going to try to cover this in as much detail as possible in this series. With that out of the way, when people say that Jews run and control everything, those people are missing the mark. It's actually the mystery schools who run and control everything, of which many of the initiates just so happen to be Jewish. And this is the way it's going to stay, at least for a while, because the hour of Lucifer has come upon the world. If you have eyes to see, hit your knees and thank God, because many people don't have eyes to see, and they're planning their lives accordingly. If your fight is against Jewish people, then you have failed to do your homework and you haven't correctly identified the enemy that you're up against. And with that in mind, another big reason why I feel compelled to speak out on this particular matter is because I personally know several Jewish people, dear friends of mine, who are great people and who despise this agenda every bit as much as I do. Personally, I'm not going to stand for my friends having to deal with a mob of angry degenerates who belittle and ostracize them for being Jews. How many of you people watching this actually know what it feels like to have your own countrymen and women, people whom you love and trust, turn against you and claim that you're inherently evil and must therefore be disempowered? Because I know exactly what that feels like. It's an evil thing, and it's a good way to bring the judgment of God upon yourself, upon your children, and upon your children's children. If you have a problem with Jewish people, I suggest you do deeper research instead of limiting your search to the early life section of Wikipedia pages, church history, and a weird, trendy obsession with the Roman Empire. Most of you guys are simpatico with mystery religion, and you don't even know it. And if you don't figure it out soon enough, it's not just going to be you who pays the price. It's going to be your children who pay the price. If I haven't lost you as a subscriber, thanks for tuning in. God bless you, God keep you, and I'll see you in the next video.